anyway, thanks for coming tonight. And I just want to make one or two announcements. And then I'll let Erik talk because I don't know how much life he has left in the battery of the computer here. So, one, we got a lot of new members. If you guys, I don't remember all your names, but we have Mike, right?
Yes.
Mike, Jeremy, Adam, Kyle,
and
Ian, and Daniel. So I hope you guys could come and welcome to the club. And we have a lot of good meetings. You can ask all our senior members here. Anyway, the other thing is Jim gives a nice discount here on the pipes. They're 20% off. Okay. Also, Erik is going to give a tin of tobacco when you buy a pipe. So between a 20% off and a tin, you won't get that in any of the stores. You'll get a discount in the store when you're a member, but you won't get the free tin of tobacco, which is really a nice little bonus. Mm-hmm. Also, hopefully we'll have a meeting in April probably, or May.
Right after the Chicago show.
Yeah, and we're going to try and get Peter Jefferson here again. Also, one other thing, and I'll let Erik have the floor. We have the new Kamoys, which has just been reintroduced. So they've been gone for a little while, and they're back now. So anyway, Erik.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Jim. It's great to be back. I was here last year, and it's good to be back. It's good to see some new faces. That's great. It's good news. I want to say also there we are raffling off a pipe tonight and a couple of hats and a leather pouch as well. So I hope everybody got a raffle ticket. So I just want to talk a little bit about the history behind the fourth generation brand, which is a concept that I started about 2 years ago. It was an idea I had because my family has been in the tobacco business since 1882 and in Denmark. And I thought it could be a fun and really fun idea to come up with a line of tobaccos, pipes, etc., based on my family's heritage. So this presentation I'm going to show you talks a little bit about where we're from and what we do or what we have done. And then it's going to show you some very 8 slides of how pipe tobacco is produced. It's a very simple approach to it, but I'll try to explain it as we go along. So, and then if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. So I'm just going to dig right into it. And the family started in the Kingdom of Denmark 6 generations ago, actually in 1786. And we come from a small island in Denmark called Ærø. Before we went into tobacco business, we were actually maritime people. A lot of people that came from that island were maritime folks. And pictured here is one of my forefathers and his wife, and he was a captain on this boat here, and he traded wood from Norway, and then he brought food and other items up to Norway, and then traded wood and brought it back to Denmark. He was also named Erik and a Stokkebye, Erik H. Stokkebye. Unfortunately, he went down with a ship, but he was about 40 years old in the North Sea, so that was the end of him. So we come from, the name Stokkebye comes from a small village in Denmark on this island, Ærø, and this island is, I don't know, maybe 30 by 40 miles or 30 by 20 miles. And this island Stokkebye, or this village Stokkebye still exists if you ever have the pleasure to go over there. And that's me pictured here a couple of years ago. And basically it consists of 3 farms and a small grocery shop, and that's it. So before we were named Stokebby, our name was Hansen. And one of my forefathers went to Copenhagen, like a lot of people did from at that time. They went to the big city to find a job. And he was asked, what's your name, son? And the guy says, I'm Erik Hansen. Well, everybody's named Hansen. Where are you from? I'm from Stokebby. Well, that's your name from now on. So that's how a lot of names came about during those days. So that's the village of Stokkebye. But in 1882, that was when my grandfather, or great-grandfather I should say, started the business. And pictured here, you see on the right, is actually his business license from the King of Denmark, who issued those licenses. And he started with a small factory in the back, and then he had a retail store in the front, and that's how a lot of small tobacco business came about in the 1800s. And the picture, the black and white picture, is one of the recipe books from that time. So this is a picture of his staff, if you will, the people who worked with him in the factory. And as you can see in the front here, I don't think that they had child labor laws at that time, because I don't think some of these kids are much beyond 8 or 9 years old. So that didn't really matter at that time. You know, if you could walk, you could work, type thing. But in those years, they produced not only, actually, it wasn't that much pipe tobacco. It was more nasal snuff. That was a big thing in those days. It was some cigars. And then a little pipe tobacco. So it's really a combination of a lot of different tobacco products. And each floor almost in the factory had their own little production. So some of the products that were produced at that time, Older Man, as you see here, was a cigar. Was one of my grandfather's cigar brands. A hand-rolled cigar, and I think even it had some Cuban tobacco in it. And the pipe tobacco Resolution was one of his brands as well, and it was named after the boat that you saw pictured before with one of our forefathers who was the captain on this boat.